Here, I want to show you guys a favorite tool of mine, and that is quizzes in Canvas. I use quizzes quite a bit as just regular assignments. Don't get too hung up on the word quiz. You can use it as a formal assessment, as a quick check for understanding, but I love how robust the quizzes in Canvas are and how they allow you to add different sentence stems, different types of questions, different stimulus for your students to engage with. So when you go in to create a new quiz, you're going to get the same type of information. This is your landing page. I'm going to name this example quiz. That's the name of my assignment, and I'm going to give it point values and all those good things, and I don't want to sync it to anything, but I'm going to give it a due date, and I'm going to come down here to build. When I come into the quiz to build it, you're going to notice you have a menu up here, and then you've got your frame, and this is the title that I just entered in. You can add your instructions here, and you have a lot of the rich text editor here. You can add any kind of links, hyperlinks, just like you can in any of your other assignments. You can add videos, you can add photos, tables, all of this stuff. You can make your instructions as robust as you need them to be and include as much information as you need to include. But this is where your students are going to learn what it is that they are supposed to do and how they are going to engage with your information in the quiz. So once you have your instructions done, you'll click done, and you'll notice this blue button right here. This blue button lets you come in and add any number of things. You can go straight to asking questions. Like if you had information up here in your instructions that you wanted them to engage with, sometimes I'll put like a slide deck in there. I might go over that slide deck in person with the whole entire class, and then I will want them to answer questions, but I'll go ahead and embed the slide deck up here in my instructions so that they can refer to it as they're going through the quiz questions. Or you can just put the assignment, you can put a link to an article, whatever. But here, this is a stimulus. Let's say that you have an art class similar to mine. I have photography and graphic design. If I wanted my students to evaluate a photograph or a graphic design, I might add that stimulus over here on the left side and then attach questions directly to that stimulus. Another thing that I like to do, I'll go ahead and click that, is I'm going to say that I want them to watch this TED Talk before they do other things. So I'm going to have them watch this TED Talk. Instructions is up to you. I usually will put my instructions in here with the content. It all kind of keeps it together. And of course, if this was a real assignment, I would be a lot more descriptive in my instructions, but watch this video. So what I want to do is take this video right here from the YouTubes, and I'm going to click share, and instead of grabbing this link, I'm going to come into embed and copy this embed code. And then I'm going to come back to my stimulus, go to insert, embed, paste that embed code here, and it's going to drop that video right there into my quiz. So now when my students enter the quiz, they're going to have the video here, and any questions that I want to ask that are related to this video, I can come over here and it's going to attach them directly. So anytime that they're going through the menu of questions that are related to this video, the video is going to stay here while they can scroll through the questions. So let's look at all of the different kinds of questions that you can add. True, false is what you think it is. Multiple choice is what you think it is. Multiple answer means like select all that apply. Those are like pretty easy to figure out. With the multiple choice, I think the default is it gives you, let's just look. Yeah, it gives you 4 possible answers. You can also add other answers if you need more distractors, and you can delete if you only needed a couple. And this right here is what the feedback will be if they get it wrong or right. Like if they choose this answer, for example, this would be the feedback. Sorry, that's not right. Try again, whatever. You don't have to do that. That's a totally optional thing. Just make sure that whatever the right answer is marked right here. And then down here at the bottom, you're going to want to, you can either do vary the points by answer, where each answer can earn them up to a certain number of points. Like the right answer is 5 points, the wrong answer that's almost right is 4 points, and so on and so forth. You can also shuffle so that they're going to get a randomized, so they can't sit next to each other and go, number one is B. So once you have that all finished, you're going to hit done. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't want that question. All right. Another thing that we can do is categorization. So this is really cool. I love doing this because they have to like, is it this or is it that? You can add other categories as well. So this is great if you're like, in my class, is this a raster file or a vector file? And you could just type in raster. And over here, vector, and then you can add your file types over here, and they have to tell you. And every single thing that's going to be sorted into the raster category would be over here. Every single thing that would be sorted over into the vector would be over here. And you can add distractors, so some that won't be sorted into either one of those categories. And when you're finished with that, sure enough, you can hit cancel. I'm going to hit done. And by the way, this is where you can increase the point value for any one of your questions. All right, one of the other is essay. This is where they have to leave you a written response. Now the question title, you can, what I usually do is I name the title the same as whatever is over here. And that's true for all of the question types, but the question stem, this is where you say, whatever the question is, whatever you're asking them to do, the writing prompt. And because this is an essay question, you'll tell them what it is that they're supposed to write, and you have all of those same exact formatting options that you have in all of your other rich content editors. This is how they're going to give you information back, and some word count and spell check and all that stuff if you want to limit. There's other things in here that you can get into. This item banking I'll show you here in a little bit. Hitting cancel again because I don't need this. File upload is if they're supposed to go find a file and upload it to answer the question. Formula, this is where you can do math things. So I am not a math teacher, but all of you math teachers should be super excited because you can do all of the mathy math things. Right over here, again, like your question stem, and it will tell you about defining variables. You use the little backtick, and your backtick is usually up above your tab on the left hand side. It's with the tilde. And then any of the things here, you can have a number of solutions that are as close to this, your margin of error. So if you want them to just get close, you can also make it where they have to be exact, a 0 margin of error. Okay, canceling that. Matching right here. So this you would you can put in terms on one side and definitions on the other, or like, you know, if you have pairs of things, you can put those in here. You always have to have a sentence stem, and you can add more question and answer pairs and all of that good stuff. And you can either grade them for partial credit if they got it almost right, or you can do an exact match. You can shuffle the questions so that they don't all get the same order. Okay, the last one that I want to show you really quickly is the fill in the blank. This is pretty cool. So when you're doing a fill in the blank, you type the whole entire thing, but everywhere that you want there to be a blank. Like for example, their example is roses are, and then they're using that backtick, red, and violets are backtick blue. And you'll notice that every time you do the backticks around a word, it's giving you down here options. So they can either open entry and they have to type it, and then in order for it to match, they have to have typed it correctly, or you can come down here, you can give them a drop down, and you can give them distractors in the drop down, or you can just make a word bank so that all of the possible things that they might have to search for are in a word bank down at the bottom, and you can add distractor words down here. And for each distractor, you just click here. All right, so this is how you add the different kinds of questions, and that is how, I mean, some of these, I'm not really sure what a hotspot is, but if you want a numeric answer, the exact response, or you can get like a margin of error within a range, like between this and that, or a precise, yes, I realize, I'm so sorry. Another thing that you can do, I didn't mean to click you, I am so sorry. You can add another stimulus, And you could, I'm just going to say article. Ooh, you got to spell it right. And then in here, you can type the instructions again. Oh, just kidding. Hee hee hee. Instructions. And let's say that you want them to read this article. It would be helpful if I could spell. All right. You can hyperlink this right here. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get this link, and it's an external link because it's going to go outside of the Canvas. I can come over here, get this one right here, the URL, and paste it and say done. All right, and then I'll come down here and say done. Now they have the second stimulus, and it is to read this article. Now, any questions I want to attach directly to this will all be in here. So if I had like 5 questions in here, they would all be here and I would scroll through them, but this would stay here until I finish all of them, and then you could scroll down. Let's go over here into settings. In settings, you can shuffle the questions, shuffle the answers, make it one at a time. If it's a test of some sort, you can require an access code or a time limit if it's a timed test. You can also detect multiple sessions. So if they've got multiple tabs open with the same information pulled up, you can detect that. You can give them a calculator. I like to allow multiple attempts on stuff, and what these are, it'll keep your highest score, unlimited attempts, or you can limit it to a certain number of attempts, and you can put time between it, or you can allow them to enable on their last attempt. So what this means, enable a build, means that if there's 10 questions and they take the quiz and they get 5 right, it'll only give them back the 5 they missed, so they can keep trying. But this is where you might want to limit the attempts. For hiding results, you can either show them the questions. I like to show the questions, but I don't always show them their response, because what they'll do is they'll either screenshot it or write down what they did put so they can go back. So I just leave these like that is, and if I left feedback, I might show them that. I'll show them how many points were possible and how many points they got, but I'm not going to let them see what they put. If you want to moderate, like let's say that you have 10 students that take it and one of them needs to retake it, but they've already met their limit. You can come in to moderate and you can reset a test or a quiz, for a student. And then this is where you get all of your reports and data once your kids have taken their quiz. I actually did not get to the item banks. I'll have to come back to that in another video. This one's getting pretty long. Sorry about that.